Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation, Online Forms Reduce Paperwork. I am your host, Ryan Clancy, and I am the Client Success Associate here at Educational Networks. All of us here at EduNet, we're excited to bring you this presentation live. Remember, if you have questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. Let's get started, everyone. So what are the most common types of forms in K through 12? Well, truth of the matter is there is definitely a lot of them. You have everything from student registration forms, transcript request forms, class registration forms, and many, many more. And for all of them, the great thing about the forms feature is it allows you to very easily gather submissions on your website. And it allows you to store your data in a single digital location. And from that location, you can go ahead and print individual forms out. You can also export them out to Microsoft Excel. And you can also accept online payments with forms. So if you're building a field trip permission slip, anything such as that, Forms is perfect for it. And it allows you to reduce time in filing and organizing. So what we're going to do first, everyone, is we're going to take a look at two examples. We're going to see how Forms allows us as website administrators to be able to go ahead, and it allows us to make managing paperwork easier, which is important. And then we'll get started with building our very own. This here is an example of a student registration form. One of the very first things that we're going to notice here is that a lot of these fields on this form have those red asterisks by them. And what that means is those are required fields. Those fields must be filled in order for this form to be turned in. And you also notice there's several different types of fields. You have, of course, the traditional text fields. You have multiple choice questions. You have three different types, such as radio buttons, drop-down menus. And if we scroll down a little bit more, you also have checkboxes. What's great, too, is you have the option to use a reCAPTCHA. And what's great about using reCAPTCHA, it's an excellent way to be able to prevent spam. Now, this next form is a little bit different. It is not a school year application. It is instead a student transcript request form. We see a lot of similar things over here. So, for example, we see the required fields, but one thing that's very different about this is that it has a file attachment. So, this form is asking that a driver's license be provided to verify that who's requesting that transcript is in fact authorized to be able to do so. We also see where you can have payment information, so you are able to accept credit card payments with the Forms feature. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get started. So first, what we're going to do is we are going to see how the Forms feature is going to make paperwork easier for us as admins. Then we'll get started with building our very own. So if I navigate over to the admin page for Green Tech High School and I log in, what I want to do now is I want to locate the Forms feature. And if I look at any of these here, so for example, if I locate our school year application that we have currently on Green Tech's site, and we click on it, what we're going to see is a listing of all the different submissions for this particular form. So we can go in, click on any of these, and it allows us to view the information that is contained within that particular form. So for example, if I select this one right here, I can click on that. I can see the first name, last name, address on here as well, which campus they applied to, which schedule, and we even have an internal field which we can set up which shows the status. But one of the great things about the Forms feature is that you are able to export forms out to Microsoft Excel or a CSV file, and here's how you do that. What you do is you select Export As, and you have your two options there. So this is a great way, depending on the use you're using the Forms feature for. If it is a survey, it allows you to do, of course, Excel is great for statistical analysis, so definitely something very, very cool there. What's also great about the Forms feature is this. You can actually set up notifications. If we look over here, we're going to see that some of these over here have conditions. So we look at Jane's notification set up over here. She's in charge of the North Campus. So anytime someone goes ahead and they choose the North Campus, she's going to receive an email letting her know that, hey, there's a form that you need to go ahead and review. So forms in many different ways makes it easier for us as website administrators to manage paperwork, but it's also very easy to be able to build them. It uses a drag and drop construction format that allows us to build brand new forms within minutes. Let's go ahead, everyone, and get started. Our first step, or this is what I find easier anyways, is to select forms again, and then click Create New Form. So what we're going to do for Green Tech High School is we're going to create the 2019 to 2020 school year student registration form. So I titled that there. So I can title it the 2019 to 2020 student registration form. Our next step now is to go ahead and put in a description for this form. So in this case, I'm going to type in, this form should be used for all students who are attending Green Tech High for the first time in 2020. That is actually going to appear right at the very top of our form. What I need to do now is I need to choose who's going to be the managers for the form. For the purposes of this webinar, I'm actually going to go ahead and set myself to be the manager for the form. What I'll do is I'll go to the drop-down menu. I'm just going to select my name here. Perfect. Now we need to decide what we want to have happen after the form submitted. So we do want to show a confirmation message. So in this case, I'm going to keep it as this. Thank you for your submission. All forms are reviewed within 3 to 5 business days. So something like that is perfect. Now what we need to do is we want to decide if we want to use spam protection and serve over secure connection. In this case, definitely something we want to do. And we make that happen just by checking these boxes. So now everything's all set to go to start building the form. So what I do is I select Save. And we can actually start building it. So what we're going to start with here is going to be an area for student information. And the very first field that we're going to add is going to be for first name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, drag, and drop. Now, obviously, I don't want the question to read single line. So to change that, I just click on it. I can change the question. So it's going to be first name. Now, I want to make sure that we do not receive any forms that are turned in without the first name being there. So for that, all I need to do is just select required field. And that means this field must be filled in order for the form to be accepted. Now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and add a field here for last name. Same thing, or actually middle name. We're going to click, drag and drop, and I'm going to change the question. Now I'm not going to make this one mandatory, but we are going to have it available for students and their families to put in. So middle name, select update. We're going to add one, of course, for last name. Click, drag and drop, click on the question, change it. We want this to be a required field, so we want to make sure we check that box and then click update. Perfect. Now we need to ask what grade level the students are going to be in. So we have a choice of 3 different types of multiple choice questions. In this case, we're going to use the radio button. So for this here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, drag, and drop. I'm going to click on the question. I'm going to first change this here to grade level. What we need to do now is we need to start adding options on here. So our first option is going to be grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, And finally, grade 12. And we're checking this box because we want to make sure that this is a required field. Perfect. So we have an area now for first name, middle name, last name, and grade level. Now what we are going to go ahead and do is we are going to go ahead and ask for the student's date of birth. So for that field, we're going to use the date field here. I'm going to click, drag, and drop. Click on this again. Change this here to be a required field. And that is the format we want it in. And we're just going to change this here to date of birth. So this here is going to wrap up our area for student information. In an effort to keep our form more organized, I'm going to use the section header. So for this here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, drag, and drop. Whoops. I'm going to select this here again. And I'm going to change this here to be student information. Now we're going to add an area that's going to be used for contact and address information. We're going to add another section header. Click, drag, and drop. I'm going to change this now to contact and address information. I'm going to click update. Perfect. So the first field that we're going to add is going to be a phone number. And we're going to notice over here that phone number is not listed. Here's what you can do. You're going to choose a single line text field. You're going to click, drag, and drop it. And we're going to change the question to phone number. Take a look at what happens now if you go over to the validate option. We can validate that the entry that our website viewers put in for this field is in the format of a phone number. We check this box to make it a required field. We then select update. Awesome. Now we're going to add a field for email address. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, drag, and drop. I'm going to select this here and make this here a required field. Now what's really cool is the address fields are actually already created for us. So the same thing, all we got to do is we got to click, drag, and drop, and look at that. So all we really need to do now is just click on this again, check this box here to make it a required field, and then that is going to be all set to go. So we now have an area here for student information, for contact and address information. Now we need to go ahead and add an area in for academic information. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get another section header. I'm going to click, drag, and drop it down. I'm going to change this here to academic information. And what I'll do is I'll select update. Perfect. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to ask for two pieces of information. We want the students to write a paragraph, and then we're going to ask, give them the option to upload any transcripts. So what we do is we are going to go ahead and we want them to write a paragraph. I'm going to select this here. So we're choosing multi-line options, of course, because it makes it easier. We're going to ask the question. What do you believe you will contribute to the green tech community? Perfect. And then we'll check this box here to make it a required field. I'm actually going to go ahead and make that a larger field there. Perfect. And now we are going to give them the option of adding a transcript for this. And for that, what we're going to do is we're going to select the file attachment. I'm going to click, drag, and drop. And then I'm going to select this here. And what I'm going to change this to is going to be previous schools transcripts. And I'm not going to make this mandatory, but I am going to allow them to upload multiple files. So all I need to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and check that box, and they'll be all set to go for that. We have one more field to add, and that's going to be, we're going to ask them what programs they're interested in. Or actually, you know what we'll do is we're going to ask them what campus they're interested in attending. So we're going to type in campus preferences. I'm going to select update. And for this one here, I'm going to use the drop-down menu. I'm going to click, drag and drop. Going to click on this again. We're going to go ahead and give them the options. So preferred campus. What I'll do now is I'm going to change the options. So it's going to be north, south, east, and west. And what I'll do is I'll check this here to make it a required field. Perfect. Our form's pretty much all set to go. So all we're going to go ahead and do now is add a note here that's going to say this. I affirm that everything contained in this form is true and correct. And what we're going to type in by submitting it. Perfect. And what we're going to do now to help get our user's attention is we're just going to check this box and select update. Our form now is all set to go. So what we'll do is we're going to click save. And now we get to preview our form. So for example, I'll select preview. And we can see our area here for student information, contact and address information, academic information, and an area for them to choose what their preferred campus is going to be. We also see our reCAPTCHA here, which is cool. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and review. So as we've seen here today, online forms allows you to easily save time. So it's quicker to build forms this way using the drag and drop construction format, but it makes it easier for our website viewers to turn in paperwork, and it allows us to very easily to collect that data too. And it allows you to store your information in one digital central location. And you can easily collect information. Remember, you can actually export information from forms out to Microsoft Excel. And you can also go ahead and accept online payments with ease too. All right, everyone. At this time, I'm happy to answer questions you may have. And as we're waiting for questions to roll in, I'm going to show you how to get help from our team here at Educational Networks. What we're going to do is we're going to navigate back over to our admin page, and we are going to go over towards the help desk. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the boxes icon, select help desk, and then click create a ticket. Essentially what we're going to do here is if we do happen to have any type of technical difficulty, we're going to fill out the form. We want to remember this is where we want to go if we do happen to have any type of technical difficulties. Remember this with this here. What's great about this here is you can actually go ahead if you have an error message or something like that come up, and if you have a chance to go ahead and screenshot that, well, that's something that can help our team help you out a little bit more quickly, which is cool. Now, here's an important tip. One of the things that we mentioned with forms is that you can accept credit card payments with it. One of the things that you want to be sure to do is you want to make sure that you've already connected your merchant accounts to your site. And you can actually do so right from this area here. All right, everyone. Well, I want to thank you all so much for taking the time out of your busy days and joining us here for our presentation on forms. Remember this, everyone, if you have any questions, I am your host, Ryan Clancy. I am the Client Success Associate here at Educational Networks. We also have our phone number here for our tech support team. Tech support's available from 7:30 in the morning all the way up until 2 a.m. Central Standard Time. Now, I definitely encourage you to go ahead, look at our webinar schedule to see which webinars we have planned next, and go ahead and register for them. Here's why. That lets me know who to send a recording of that webinar to as well. So that's something that's very, very cool. Everyone, thank you all so much for everything you do every day to inspire future generations. We look forward to seeing everybody at our next presentation. Take care, everybody.